Hello and welcome. My name is Vex, and today I have another Friday Godforge leak. It's been a little while. The dev team is certainly, well, hopefully, on sort of like holiday break, but they've been kind of quiet lately. I imagine there's some crunch going on as the early access comes out in just a couple months. I think we should have our hands on the game in like early March, I think was the goal for early access. If you haven't signed up, head over to godforge.gg, sign up so we can get these in-game benefits. There's like roles and gems and things that accounts will get if we can hit these milestones. And I want more roles because if I don't like get to start the game with Wukong, I'll probably re-roll accounts until I get Wukong, but that's beside the point. Today, we're going to talk about leaks, reveals, whatever you want to call it. There's a couple different things. There's rebalances, as well as an update to what they've been doing with lighting and character models and things like that. So let's start with the character models. So here we have a character. This could be Raijin. Someone, man, I'm not good with all 200 of the characters that they got. But here's one. And here, oh, okay. So this is the old face model. And remember, this is a game that's built on the Unity engine that is made as a mobile-first game. So it's not going to be, RTX on. You need a 5070 to run it on a PC and your phone's going to melt. They're trying to optimize it for mobile first. So they're working within those constraints. And they're updating lighting and, at the very least, the characters' faces. And I don't know exactly what they're doing to do that, other than just like going in and sculpting a little bit more, or spending maybe more time on textures. Maybe it's just textures. I don't know. I would like to know what exactly they're doing, because they're clearly not using Unreal Engine's. Oh man, what's their program called? There's a program that turns faces into like sort of hyper realism. Oh man, I can't remember. I'm not good with these things. Anyway, so that's one character. I kind of like the upgrade, and I think they're definitely taking it in a more fantasy realism direction in terms of like art design. Okay, this is I think this is a Nubian warrior. This is a common. I think Raijin is a legendary, if that's who that is. So this is the update, and this is what he looked like before. This looks like a Fable character. This looks like a Fable, like an early PlayStation, Xbox character. This looks pretty good. I feel like though, and it might be a lighting thing, the face here doesn't really look like it has much actual depth. So I don't know what kind of render they've done here. Like, clearly you can see this is a 3D model and there's depth to it. This as well. This is like an in-game screenshot. This, though, is not an in-game screenshot, and I'm curious to know what's going on. Oh, God. Who is this? CC Leaks 5 and 6. Okay. This is such a good... This looks 3D. So this is the old one. Very cartoony. It seems like some of these side-by-sides have looked pretty cartoony in the old one. And the new one is definitely more in the fantasy realism space. And with the lighting passes that we've seen in the last couple months since the last wave of the alpha, we've definitely seen the world sort of get darker in places. which I'm not necessarily a fan of. It's sort of like the cinematic movie problem, where a scene is filmed in the day, and then in post they'll turn everything dark so they can like hide stuff. Like there's a time and place for that, and it's definitely not everywhere in the game that they're going to do that because they do have day scenes and things like that. But at least here, this sort of looks like a character. I don't know. Like this reminds me of, I don't know, like an early 2000s Fable game. You know, this feels a bit more impactful. Like this is a person that you can play as, and maybe that sort of adds to while you're fighting in the game. That's sort of the fantasy of playing as that person. I don't know. I think I like this. And maybe they just chose an unflattering angle here. I don't know. This is Persephone, I think. Or Aphrodite, maybe. Seems like they've this is the updated one. It's sort of subtle, but her like sort of eyebrow ridge um has like less space here, a little bit more realistic. Blush on her cheeks. It does look a bit strange on her body though, because it's very clear that they've just touched up the face. The hair's the same. The hair's going to stay the same because they can't, because of the restrictions of Unity and being mobile, they can't do too much to add to the characters because you also have to think about, like, your team is going to have 4 or 5 people on it. You're going to be facing 4 or 5 people or a boss, and you're going to have a whole level around you with a bunch of effects and stuff. So the models probably aren't going to change very much, but I wonder if they're also going to go into the characters' bodies and like weapons and things. I mean, it seems like a good change. It seems like a very subtle change, but a very good one. It's not so stark like this one. And last one, I heard about this on the CC Discord. There's like a joke that Adventures of Adam's favorite character is Isolde. She was absolutely fantastic in like every wave of the alpha. She like, you get her early, and she like does speed increases and turn meter increases, and she's like super good. She pairs with Tristan for like a really good early game pair. Super good carry into late game, at least in the alpha. But this is what she looked like in the alpha. This is the original, and this is the new one. And I think the change is good. It's along the same lines as the other one. This is definitely, like I said, more of a cartoon look of like a PlayStation 2 era game. This gives more mature fantasy realism vibes. People were saying in the Discord that they gave her this is like an unflattering angle, which like I get. But she seems, I don't know, she just seems more real here. And I appreciate that a little bit more than the sort of cartoony, like old WoW model look. Yeah, I like it. I like all these changes. I think they're all great. This one, I think, was the most sort of interesting to me. I don't even know who that is. I forget. Okay, next we have some kit changes. I think these are all... Yeah, I want to start with this. So, in the last wave of the alpha... No, I don't want to hear this. I'm sorry. In the last wave of the alpha, I pulled Ra as my guaranteed first legendary. And I didn't use him at all. Because he was very bad. So I'm curious to see what his kit has changed into. And I think these are total reworks. His wings look so cool. Heck yeah. Okay, basic attack. Suncrest Sweep. Attack one enemy with multipliers of attack and accuracy, which is interesting because you need accuracy to land debuffs and such. 75% chance to increase the duration of a burn. If the attack is critical, it activates the blaze on the target. So it triggers the damage from the debuff, and activating the debuff decreases its turn by 1. So if it was up for 2 turns, activating it uses up 1 of the turns. I'm fairly certain. So you can, if you have him with max crit, which is kind of crazy because you want him to be high crit, up to 100% crit damage, theoretically, right? High attack and high accuracy. That's a lot. And presumably a good speed or a good divinity. That's a lot. Okay, this is a cooldown ability. Attacks all enemies for attack and accuracy. Has a chance to place Blaze 2 for 3 turns on each enemy. Okay. If this ability defeats an enemy, decrease its cooldown by 1. That's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. Also increase crit damage by 5% for each blaze placed. Stacking up to 15%. What? Stacking up to 15% times. Okay. Okay. This could be really good for, like, wave farming. Like, if he's particularly strong, it's a 3-turn cooldown. So, and each wave has a minimum of 4 characters. So you just smack, wipe them out. Next wave, smack, wipe them out. And then whoever lives gets a blaze on them. And you increase your crit damage. Okay. Ultimate. Starts with... I was about to try to sing the Linkin Park song. I forget how the words go. It starts with one thing. Okay, never mind. Okay, that's over. Attack all enemies 3 times. Each hit has a 30. Well, I said it starts with to note the starting divinity level. Anyway, AoE triple hit. Dang. Each hit has a small chance, 35% chance to place defense down and vulnerable 2 on each target. If an enemy is defeated, increase the duration of blaze on all enemies. So ideally, you start with the core ability, the AoE blaze 2. Does this mean? I think maybe we need clarification. Increase the duration of blaze on all enemies. Does that include blaze and blaze 2? I would assume so, but. So you start with that. Every time somebody takes damage from a blaze, you gain ultimate. Then you blast them. Seems weird to place defense down and vulnerable on an ultimate. Because, like, ideally they're dying with the ultimate. Or if not, like it's going to... I don't know. I don't know what these... I can imagine what they do, but I think it goes into it here. Oh, maybe not. Passive. When any blaze on allies or enemies activates, expires, or is removed, increase the damage the next ultimate by 5%. Also has a 50% chance to activate blaze on any attack. That's interesting. I feel like you might have a hard time keeping blaze up if you're activating them 50% of the time, especially with the A1. Because the A1 has a chance to activate. Yeah, if it's crit, it's just going to activate. Interesting. Okay. We're looking at, hey, you have maxed out your abilities. Yeah, it's going to go up to 100% chances. Wait, this is 4 4 turn with a -1. Okay. 4 turn base cooldown. I see. I think we'll also get ascension bonuses. Yes, this is like purple stars. Don't really care. They're all going to be 6-star. Awakening 5 has a 50% chance to activate Blaze on any attack. Also has a... Oh, that's the... Oh, it changed the passive. Okay. That was not clear. The bonus abilities came from having multiple copies of Ra. I see. Okay. I wish that they did not show the abilities like that. That's okay. There's also, like, skill animations. We're not going to go into that. Because I'm just interested in the kits. That is just the ascension bonuses for Loki. I got Loki. He was also kind of underwhelming. I imagine that's why he got a rework. Attack one enemy. Attack and accuracy again. A chance to place Charm. I think Charm must attack when the hero that placed Charm is attacked. So Loki, the charmed hero will receive the attack instead. Okay. So if Loki gets attacked, they just attack their ally. Seems good. Place Sleep on everybody for 1 turn. If the target's under sleep, increase the duration by 1. Steal some of their turn meter. Then this is an awakening boost. If the target resists sleep, blocks, or is immune, so like bosses, increase the hero's turn meter by 20%. Okay. I would kind of like to see it like a team-wide increase. Sleep is just skip a turn. Yeah, skips a turn. Attack damage taken is increased. Oh. Duration reduced when attacked. Okay. So you get 1 attack. That's 30% increased. Ultimate attacks all enemies with an 80% chance to place Corrupt on each target. Then places Vanish and Reflect on this character. Awakening 5, I imagine. When attacking under Vanish, steal a buff or extend a random debuff. This will show us what Corrupt is. Maybe. Click it, please. I'm allowed to pause. The hero that placed Corrupt will steal any buffs placed on the debuffed enemy. Okay. Duration is reduced. 80% chance to place 1 Corrupt on each target. Okay. So if they place like a team-wide heal, he'll get all of them. Can't be targeted directly. That's like Veil. Reflect the damage. Yeah. Passive. When sleep expires or is removed from an enemy by like attacking them, decrease their turn meter by 20% and place speed down on the target. That is actually kind of good. If you're landing the sleeps, you're just also landing speed down and getting a turn, potentially, off of them. Awakening boost, we already know. Okay. One more character kit. Dracula. Dracula was one of the highlights of, I think, 2 of the waves of the alpha. Bleeds are particularly strong, or at least were particularly strong in the alpha waves for Fafnir, because the stacks don't tick away when they happen. Their damage depends on how many stacks there are, and they never go away. So you're just constantly dealing the maximum amount of damage. And he could apply a bunch of bleeds, so I'm curious to see what's going on And I gotta skip this song. Attack one enemy. I think all of his abilities have changed. For HP and attack, 2 times. Each hit can place 1 stack of bleed on each enemy. Okay. Okay. Heal 5% of this hero's 5% HP this. All right. We gotta lock in. Fateless, we gotta lock in. I know for a majority of the team that English is their primary language. We gotta lock in. This is like the third ability that's been very. I mean, it's not even in early access yet. I'm just poking fun. Heal 5% HP this hero if the target is under bleed. Okay, so does that mean on the second hit? So if the first hit lands a bleed, the second hit will heal you, probably. Because each one places and checks for a bleed independently. So if they already have a bleed, you heal for 10%. If they have 1 bleed, 5%. Okay. We gotta lock in. Places 2 stacks of bleed on all enemies and removes 1 buff from each target. Okay. And it's a lowercase I, dude, on the beginning of a new sentence. Come on. That one's a gimme. If a buff was removed, place 3 stacks of bleed instead. Okay. Grants an extra turn. Oh. Interesting. So, if they have buffs, if you like went second, you strip a buff from everybody. You place 3 stacks of bleed. And then if you happen to have taken damage, you then heal because they already have bleed on them. And you could potentially place 2 more stacks of bleed on 1 target. All right. That seems good. This is the ultimate. Attacks all enemies 4 times. Before attacking, consumes all stacks of bleed on each target and increases the damage inflicted by 8% per stack of bleed consumed. Increases the damage inflicted by 8%. Oh, of the main attacks. So all 4 attacks will be increased by 8% per stack. So like if 4 enemies all have 4 stacks of bleed, you consume them and deal 16 times 8% more damage on 4 attacks. That's pretty good. The old Dracula, like put bleeds on your team and then consume them and like swap them for mend or something. I can't remember exactly what his ultimate was, but like the point was to not use his ultimate because it just like it ruined the damage. So this seems really good. You don't get the damage from the bleeds, but ideally it makes up for it by attacking everybody for an extra percentage for the bleed. Also, each hit destroys the target's HP for 10% of the damage inflicted, up to 60% of the target's HP. So if you do this twice, you can only go to 60% of the target's HP. I don't know about that. That's the awakening boost. Okay. Destroying HP seems good. It means they can't heal past a certain point. Passive. At the start of the enemy's turn, if they're under a bleed, increase the damage of this next hero's attack by 10%. If they're under... At the start of an enemy's turn... At the start of an ally's turn, steal 5% of their current HP and increase this hero's divinity by 2%. That's so good. That's actually really good. That's such a flavorful vampire... I really like that. Stealing HP. I do that all the time in D&D. Accidentally take 5 HP from my allies. That's so good. I really like the flavor of Dracula here. Seems much more bleed and vampire focused. Yeah, we already know these. Okay, that's going to do it for me. Quick one today. I hope everybody has been good, and I hope you all have a good, happy holidays. Ideally, in the new year, we get more news as early access approaches. So if you like the video, make sure to like it and subscribe. I appreciate you for being here, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the new year. Bye!